Today's guest is in charge of the party. Joining me now, it's Dave Turnbull, DJ Dirty Dave, DMI Entertainment, all the good stuff around here in Minot. Before we get into that, let's talk about your day job for maybe just a second. What's life like at Burdick Job Corps? Tell us about what you do there.
Oh, that's fantastic, Ben. I work as the manager of safety and security and fire prevention here. I've been with Job Corps probably just about as long as I've been an entertainer. About 20 years. I started back in 2000 working at the Hubert H. Humphrey Job Corps Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. And I traveled to probably about 11 different centers throughout the United States, and then ended up landing here in Minot, North Dakota.
So that took a lot of flexibility, I guess, maybe on your part?
Absolutely, and not having a family at the time, or at least no children at the time. So.
Mm-hmm. Why did you want to help out with job centers? Period. Whether it was Burdick or anywhere else that you've been.
I would definitely say it's about the students. I used to be a correctional officer from my background through the military, and then also for the state of Minnesota. And I found that Job Corps was something that I just kind of fell upon because of how close it was to my home in St. Paul. It was, with corrections, most students, or most of those individuals in juvenile corrections, there was a big high turnover. So I wanted to do something that was more proactive and not reactive. So I ended up falling in love with Job Corps as a security officer and just kind of moved up from there.
Do you have a philosophy for helping folks in those situations, maybe some overarching keys that you like to bring to work every day?
Yes, absolutely. I would say probably positivity and having goals, whether they be long-term, short-term, and I like to share mine with the students, and also that they can do anything that they put their mind to, especially if it's something positive towards their life.
Well, something that you've put your mind to has been DMI Entertainment. You said it's pretty much spanned the time that you've been at Job Corps up here, or perhaps most of that time. What kind of led you to doing this business?
I used to work a side job in security, working at another bar in the Twin Cities, and I noticed a guy that was, a DJ there, and I was talking with him about his experience and everything. And I've always liked music in my life, so it was one of my hobbies was always listening to all kinds of different music and everything. And eventually, this guy actually said, "Hey, if you want to learn how to do it," and he's like, "I'll show you how to do it, but you got to work for free for a while." And I said, "Well, I can do that." And eventually, he helped me out. When I first started learning to be a DJ, I was learning on CDs and using all kinds of different types of LPs, records too, and had a great time with it. And then eventually, I started DJing at a couple different places throughout the Twin Cities, and it just turned out where I didn't know it was going to become a career or a business for me. But as it progressed, going to different places, I found myself working at different venues and everything as a DJ. And DMI is Dynamic Music in Innovations. But it started out as Dave's Musical Inspirations.
Nice. Did you have, I don't know, I don't want to call it like a breaking point per se, but any moment stick out to you where you had the clarity to say, rather than being security or managing a venue, I want to dive into just the DJing portion of any kind of entertainment center?
Well, I would say definitely where I started wanting to actually start the business up and get it going was, I would have to say it was when I had returned back to, I was recently back in the cities, living in Wisconsin, in a border town, and I was talking to some friends and they were like, "Hey, we want to book you for weddings and stuff." And I started doing a few more weddings and borrowing equipment and renting equipment from people, and then it just turned out where I had a lot of business down there, and eventually I was like, well, I'm going to just start this business and get it going. And I love entertaining people, making sure people have a great time. And it's just a lot of fun, too, at the same time.
When you started learning from that guy that you mentioned, and you knew that like you couldn't really be making much money on the front start of it, that's pretty easy to say when like you're passionate at the start of a journey. When you were in it, and again making like just crumbs, how did that reinforce that you definitely wanted to do that?
I have to say, every time I was shown something, it was something new that I didn't know about. How to place music, and how to put them together, and then having like kind of like a playlist almost in my head, which kind of kept me motivated. And how can I make that even better each time that I play? So it's never the same thing twice.
How much do you have to be locked in when you have to be in the zone and mixing things, man?
I will have to say I have to be really in the zone and very focused sometimes. I can't just, sometimes it's hard to kind of hold a conversation and still be in, watching that mix. But sometimes I can do all right. But once if we're doing like anything that's, hours and hours long, I can only do so much because you also have to make sure that you're watching your crowd.
How big is that? I mean, being able to read the room and seeing what people are responding to, because that's not even about like, I don't know, like the size or venue capacity. You have certain people who come in on certain nights and they want to hear something different than others.
Absolutely, it's probably one of the toughest things to learn. I have to say it's not something that comes easy either. Because I remember when I was first starting out, and of course my mentor was he would say, go ahead and play. I'll be right back. I don't know how. I mean, he would come back and he goes, well, you didn't clear the floor. So, so I guess it was just more experience, and then just watching, and having those small failures, that kind of gave me that point of, how to read the crowd, and then that mentor helping me out to say, well, if you look and, take a look at these different people here and there, and then just watching when, because your goal, usually when you're playing, is your goal is 80%, and then you're always going to have that 20%, but that's okay when you're doing certain things, especially if you're in a venue that's serving either food or alcohol. That's usually a good time for people to switch out and to rotate your people from the dance floor, and then get some other people that you notice that are not directly in your crowd, but they might be sitting down, but you can see that they're wanting to dance or taking those requests.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you might have a set list in your head, but boy, sometimes people can really get after it when it comes to requesting and wanting to hear that song after some time. How do you kind of throw those things into the mix?
And the biggest thing with that is if you take a request, I would say my goal is to try to get it on as soon as I can, but also just to make sure that, like, if I can place it somewhere where I know I'll get a really good, like sometimes people come up and ask for songs and I'm like, ooh, I've played that before, and I know that it'll get a good reaction if I play it with another song before and after.
I never even really thought about it that way. I always thought that DJs were sworn to never do a repeat or anything.
Well, I have a rule of thumb when it comes to repeating songs. I will repeat a song 2 hours out from the last time I played it, if I played it. And then also, now if I'm going to play the same artist, I have a 1 hour rule. Mm-hmm. Which is something that I've always gone by, and it's always treated me well in my experience. You're
not doing any of the radio gags of artists double dip or the Fab 4 at 4 like 94.9 does?
No.
Absolutely not. So I've asked you about the receptiveness of different crowd attendees that you might have to deal with, but let's talk about the sizing and how things might be affected when you're going to a smaller venue versus the original that's much bigger, much more space. Does anything really change for you?
I would say just like some of the prep work. The one good thing about if you're going to a venue that you're familiar with, you can kind of prep for that because you kind of know what kind. And usually, I try to make sure that I'm usually, especially with a bar, I would always make sure that I've actually seen the venue and been in the venue. Or any mobile area, just to kind of see how it looks and how it feels. And then with bars, it's really nice because you can actually see the people that are going there on a regular basis and having a good time, which helps you by kind of putting a playlist in your head, too.
That's even a case in itself here because obviously the original just set up their new building not too long ago. How is it different from the old spot where you were at regularly versus this new spot? Anything good, different to adjust?
Well, the biggest thing for us is it's a little bit less set up for us, and it's a phenomenal location. Um, and what a sound system they have up there. Always a big turnout, whether it be for DJ or karaoke. We've done some fill-ins a couple times. We always do, if they don't have we know that they always reach out to us if we don't have a band for the weekend, and we'll come up there and we'll do a show, maybe do a couple of gimmicks. Also, just making sure that we're doing like what we've been doing lately is what we call a CPR night, which is country, pop, and rock. So that's a little taste of everything. And with popular music, when talking about pop, we can do just about anything that we want. So whether we can bounce around and have fun with it, so we can be going from a good old country song that we know has a good feel, and then we can go to something that's maybe a little more poppy that we know that maybe the ladies like a lot, and then we can switch it back up to something where we know everybody's going to sing along.
I've been asking you these questions, obviously, for this interview, but at the same time, when DMI Entertainment comes out to play a show in Minot, it's a big Batman and Robin type vibe between you and Evan Hunt. Really likes to entertain the crowd and really drive the show going. How did you guys first start teaming up? And tell me a little bit about how that dynamic has worked just in preparation, and then when you guys are having your showtime, what do you like to bring together?
Well, I like the fact that we both have the same vibe. It's about having a great time and entertaining everybody, and making sure everybody has a great time while they're there. And we both have kind of a similar, microphone presence. I guess it's hard to determine right where we first started to team up. When I got up here, I was aware. I used to go to the Ice Cold Writer Shop Blue, and I used to just go there as a patron, not as a patron, but as a donating member to the community. And we eventually started talking, and then when I recently got back here in 2019, I was talking to him, and I didn't realize that he had actually had some DJ experience, and that he also did a lot of karaoke DJing, which was something that we wanted to add, which I wanted to add to DMI Entertainment. So we started talking, and we were like, hey, why don't we do double teams, and we can also do where I can focus more on the music preparation, and you can be on the other end with the microphone presence. And it's just worked out really, really well. Especially when we're entertaining a crowd. And then if we need to split up, we are both capable and more capable of doing it. So I guess that's where the team up came, because he didn't know that I was actually a DJ for a long time, and I just I could talk to him about it a couple times. I'm like, hey, you should give me an opportunity. And eventually ICR said, hey, we got a night we want to try you out on. And we had probably one of the most phenomenal nights that we ever had there, and that's probably where it started.
Do you guys banter a lot throughout a show, or does one guy usually take over for a block of time, just talking and communicating with the crowd?
It's a little bit a little bit of back and forth. Maybe he'll be saying something, and I'll just jump on something on the back end of it, or maybe I'll throw in a little sample of something, or I'll scratch the song a little bit, or provide a song that's going to be really eventful for whatever he's doing or presenting out in the front of the crowd. Sometimes we do free shots for everybody, depending on what venue we're at. Sometimes we do shotgunning, beer shotguns, contests where we give out free T-shirts, other kind of giveaways, and we just kind of go back and forth with it. But it's definitely one heck of a team. So.
Does Evan's moniker of DJ Sexual Chocolate come from the Player Haters Ball and Chappelle show, or the band in Coming to America?
I think it's from I'm not sure exactly where it started. Excuse me, sorry.
A better question for Evan.
Yeah, definitely a better question for Evan. I don't know where it originated. I know that it came out where he was going. I know sometimes he puts some funny stuff, some pretty funny stuff on Facebook, and he was saying DJs, DJ blank something or whatever tonight, and then I just watched everybody's volunteering names, and of course that came up. I'm not sure where it originally came out from, but it's kind of stuck, and it's always the weird names that we never thought would stick.
I'm not going to leave you off the hook of that. How do you pick DJ Dirty Dave? And also, how have you refined your announcing voice? It's very distinct.
So I'll definitely say lots and lots of practice. Well, let's start with the name first. So the name Dirty Dave, nobody could figure out a good name for me when I was first starting out. So I will say one thing. My mentor gave me a name right when I first started. He called me DJ Party Killer. It didn't stick. A lot of bartenders that I worked at throughout the Twin Cities eventually started calling me Dirty Dave, and I'm like, I don't know what that was for, but I'm assuming because of maybe the music that I played, or maybe how I entertained the crowd. And it just kind of stuck. And every time everybody saw me, they were always calling me Dirty Dave. So I'm like, it just kind of stuck, and hung on to it. And let's see what else. I guess my enunciation voice is definitely different than what my normal talking voice is. Lots of practice. When I was first starting out, I never talked on the mic. And to be honest, I actually recorded my voice reading off what I wanted to say when I first started. And then I would record it, put it on a CD, and then I would play that throughout the time that I was working. And then eventually it got to the point where I was pretending like I was actually on the microphone. And then it just eventually kind of hit me, and I liked where it sounded, and more talking from my diaphragm, and thank you for coming out. And I always have a gag. I always like to stick with it. I've always said ladies and gentlemen right before I start talking, just to get people's attention.
Of course, you got to try to be polite. So, also, when obviously, it hardly ever happens where somebody gets a nickname that they actually come up with themselves. When people keep calling you DJ Dirty Dave and you stick with it that way, did they make sure to tell you, like, hey, you're DJ Dirty Dave and it's spelled with a U and not an I?
I'm not sure when that change started, but there were I had a few friends back in the cities that were like, well, don't go with dirty. You need to be like Dirty Dave. And I'm like, okay, so it should be with a U, and they said, yeah, it should be like with a U. So it's like, not that you're dirty.
So in that vein, are you a big Motley Crue fan? Because it pretty much sounds like the same game plan.
I love Motley Crue.
Fantastic. That was just a quick follow. So, thankfully, we're getting maybe a little bit closer to normal life this year in 2020. But tell us a little bit about how you guys planned together those virtual parties that you had during the pandemic, just to give people something, stay in touch, whatever. And had you ever done anything like that before?
Well, I will definitely tell you, I've never done anything like that before. When COVID-19 hit and everything kind of shut down, on my Facebook page, a lot of people were asking about, like, are you going to do anything like in your garage? And, maybe you can play some music for us. And so I looked into some things, and I jumped online and found a Zoom conference. And purchased like their business class so I could get as many people on there as possible. And what an amazing turnout I had, even just locally. People wanted to participate. They tipped. Not horribly well or anything, but it was definitely a lot of fun. Being able to interact with people. We had people from all over the world on there. I know a lot of people overseas, a lot of military people. Also, my friends are on just about every coast, and it was just nothing but fun, and people getting to know people in the chat. Sometimes we would, slow the music down or turn the music down a little bit and have conversations with me, maybe with some other people, ask questions about why is it daylight where you're at.
Is it easier taking requests through a Zoom chat or live?
Wow, you know what? It's easier through a chat because I don't have to respond right away.
Yeah, but what if you have like a mountain of text and then you lose it in the middle of it?
Right. Well, I just scroll back through. So, and if I miss it, usually they give me like a, they'll keep sending it. So
A reminder. And you said like people coming in from all over the world for that kind of thing. I want to dial it back here. I'll quick ask you like, how was it just like being in the military, and how did it enrich your life?
I will say it's probably one of the best choices I ever made in my life. I was in the Marine Corps from 93 to 97. I was a correctional officer in the Marine Corps. I traveled overseas to Okinawa, also to North Carolina, California. Did a lot of training, a lot of the discipline that I have now, and a lot of how I talk. Well, speaking of my voice, is talking from the diaphragm, which is one of the big things. If you ask a Marine, they'll definitely tell you that they sound off when they talk. So
You're like Mr. Ermey in Full Metal Jacket, or what?
I can
Talk, both volume and dialogue, or what?
volume. Well, I don't know about dialogue, but
All right. So obviously, you've done a lot with DMI Entertainment in the past. Obviously, something brand new this year with the virtual stuff. Where do you see kind of the business going from here? Are you going to keep rolling? Do you have any new ideas in the pipeline?
we have a lot of great ideas. We're doing a lot of different stuff with DMI. So one of our big things to fame is, so we don't play just music. We play music videos. So like that's one of our main selling points is that we can come in, set up displays. Most venues have like their own projector screens where they have large screens where we can actually play the music videos that everybody likes. Especially the old stuff from, when MTV used to actually play music videos.
In that case, during your virtual parties, did you have music videos up more, or just your mug more?
No, it was more the videos and just me kind of on the side as a small little thing, so you could see that I was still at work.
All right, cool. And then just anything further that you're thinking of right now?
I know that we got some stuff in the works. I guess our plan eventually is DMI will want to expand, and we want to look into getting like our own venue, such as either whether a bar and grill. There's some future stuff that we're definitely looking forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to.
How broad has your performance footprint been? And in that vein, when you think about a venue, like how is it around here? How broad do you look for something like that?
My main focus would be probably I want to start up here.
Mm-hmm.
Minot is a great town, a great community. We've had such a great response from up here. We're definitely wanting to expand here, or at least to start out here. And then if we can, we may, if business is really good, we would love to expand, further out. But we definitely want to start in Minot. This is like I said, a great town to be in. And, we know that we'd probably get a good turnout if we did.
Yeah, because I think in this area, a lot of times when something new comes along, the billing can be that, boy, it's something that Minot doesn't have right now or has never seen before, and that is always there. But then sometimes, when you hit it, it really hits. And then it doesn't always mean it's going to be successful, but I think you guys have a pretty decent following that I think you would be set up pretty well. Do you kind of see that attitude around this area when it comes to new entertainment?
Absolutely. I think that's exactly what we've been seeing is just a really good turnout and definitely a great response. We're going to keep trying to do something different, something new every time that we go around. As we add new technology, whether it be lighting, sound, whatever new elements that we could possibly provide, doing different types of things. There's some other stuff, but I just can't let it out yet because it's still in the works. But definitely keep an eye out for new stuff coming out from DMI Entertainment.
That's awesome, man. Looking forward to the next great show I'm at real soon, and just whatever you have coming up next. I'm sure there's a ton of people that'll be excited to see it. Dave, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it.
That's DJ Dirty Dave, DMI Entertainment.